YB stays on your neck.
It's on my neck.
If I'm Anthony Joshua's manager, I say, let sleeping dogs lie. I don't want to fight that guy anymore because you don't know what you did wrong. You go back and you're going to do the same thing. Let it slide. He's young. Get together in the gym. Let his mind clear up. When you get knocked out, it almost takes a year before you can get yourself back together. It's like you've broken your leg, but it was really the jaw. And you need to recuperate. Go back, start all over again. He can get the champion again. Make him fight him in England where the weather suits his body, and he'll get the title again. Don't leave Ruiz alone. Let him alone.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So as you can see on your screen, George Foreman has commented and given Anthony Joshua some very valuable advice. And it says here, Anthony Joshua must stay away from Andy Majin Buu Ruiz Jr., says the legendary George Foreman. George Foreman explains why Andy Ruiz Jr. is the last thing that Anthony Joshua needs. Now, at the start of this video, I played you lot the TMZ interview that George Foreman gave to Anthony Joshua after the fight. And in that interview, he basically said that AJ's got a load of bums in his team. He needs some real boxing people, and George Foreman offered AJ for management. Now, you have to be careful in these situations because there are a lot of leeches, but meaning people who want to cling on to the cash. And I understand that, but ultimately, people can sit there and say, oh, George Foreman just wants to be managing AJ for the money. The bottom line is, George Foreman's more qualified than anyone on AJ's team. AJ's got a load of tennis coaches and ex-tennis coaches and ex-football coaches, all this sort of business. I'll take George Foreman. I'd rather AJ get milked by George Foreman than a load of tennis and football and Rob McCracken, British level boxer. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And besides, George Foreman is a 100 millionaire in his own right. Simple as that. Entrepreneurial wise, he's made more from his grill than he did in his boxing career. So he's got his own money. That's another thing. What people around AJ have their own money? Answer me that. AJ, I told you this before. AJ in his circle, AJ in his pyramid is at the very top. Everyone's looking up to him. Everyone's got their hands and mouths open, looking for a handout. You need to surround yourself with people of your caliber in terms of money, because when you're around, when broke people are around broke people, it's pretty equal because everyone's broke together. But when you got one rich don and a whole load of broke motherfuckers, that's how you end up being you know what I mean, a charity case, always having to support people and fund people and sponsor people. Yeah, George Foreman, yeah, you'll cut him a 5% check, but ultimately, his intention's there. George Foreman ain't coming you for a paycheck. He's got his own money in his own right. When you got a millionaire, 100 millionaire coming to you and saying he wants to offer you services, especially someone of George Foreman's caliber, world champion, competed in the biggest fight in history. Yeah, the very biggest one against Ali in Zaire or whatever it was. Yeah, Rumble in the Jungle, I think it was. Simple as that, biggest one ever. I think it was something like 2 billion people watched it, or 500 million people watched it. Absolutely crazy, massive. He was there. He lost in them similar circumstances in that sense. Shocking loss, which essentially broke him. He's done all that and been through it all at the very peaks, bigger than where AJ is now. Yeah? McCracken ain't been there. All these football coaches and tennis coaches ain't been there. Now, I'm not analysing what George Foreman said there, but what I'm trying to say is, in every video for these next few months, if AJ or anyone on AJ's team can hear this, maybe it jolts something in his brain, I'm going to do it. Bring George in. Bring someone in who's got a bit of calibre. And it's not the YB saying this. Everyone's been saying it. Roy Jones has said it. Spencer Fearon said it. Not he's anyone, but Antonio Tarver. Everyone who's been world champion has said it. You haven't got no world champions in your set. You haven't got no ultra all-time greats in your set. And I think at this level, you can have one. Why not? And I wouldn't mind if you had an ultra low profile team with only a few man, fine, but you've got a whole load of bums in your team anyway. You got a whole load of bums. As an example, AJ's management team. AJ made his management team, do you know that? I think the man's name's Freddie something. Them Freddie Dons, whatever it is, Freddie something. That Freddie guy, AJ made that management company. Yeah? There were these two dudes, and they were running, and AJ basically put them on. They weren't managing no one before they got AJ. In fact, I'm not even sure they're managing anyone now. My point is, whatever they are managing now is because of AJ. AJ made them. AJ's been making everyone around him. AJ's made. Even Eddie Hearn to an extent. Let's call a spade here. Take AJ out the way. Eddie Hearn wouldn't be where he is. That's a fact as well. British boxing wouldn't be where he is. AJ's spent too much time sponsoring a whole load of clingers on. That's the fact of the situation. No one's come to him and said, listen, we're on a level here. I can actually teach you something. AJ's been the one sponsoring, doing handouts. But anyway, that's not the point in this video. My rant on that part, you all know how I feel about that anyway, but let's look at what George Foreman says. AJ must stay away from Ruiz. He doesn't think the rematch is a smart idea. Now, unfortunately, we've had a lot of people saying this. A lot of people are saying that, oh, you shouldn't take the rematch. But my problem with that is this. I wouldn't mind if all these people, including George Foreman, if they were all saying, oh yeah, AJ, this Andy Ruiz fight isn't a smart idea, you shouldn't take it. If that was the case before the first fight, I'd get it. I'd be like, well, you know what? They said don't do it the first time. But the fact that no one was saying don't take this fight. People were saying it will be a good fight. Or, yeah, Andy Ruiz is tougher than you think. But no one was saying don't take it. So now I think it's a bit, just because we've seen the result, doesn't mean you should now change the way you think about it. Does that make sense? Let's get it straight now. That was the worst. That wasn't the real AJ in there. Ruiz didn't beat the real AJ. On paper he did, but anyone with a brain knows that weren't the real Don in there. That wasn't what we've seen for 23 fights. Rightly or wrongly, but that said, don't get me wrong, if Andy Ruiz beats him again, that's that. He's beat AJ at that point. There will be no excuses at that point. Bad performance or not. 2 times, one time can be lucky, the other time can't be, but ultimately, let's not get it twisted. Andy Ruiz is Andy Ruiz. He's nothing special. He was hitting Dimitrenko. He fought Dimitrenko a month ago, or 2 months before he fought AJ, and he couldn't hurt him. He did not put Dimitrenko down once. I think, in fact, Dimitrenko lasted longer than AJ did. And Dimitrenko didn't hit the mat, didn't hit the canvas. Didn't even get buzzed, to be honest. Andy Ruiz really isn't some great... People think he's a great puncher. AJ made him look $1 million that night. Seriously. Andy Ruiz was average, just like he was in the Dimitrenko fight. He did nothing special. Everyone keeps telling me, oh, YB, give him credit, give him credit. If he did something amazing, I would do. He didn't. Seriously. He did what he always does. He was hitting everyone with them same combinations, and no one was going anywhere. Dimitrenko was just standing there. That's that. AJ was diabolical. Out of 10, out of 100, he was like probably a 1 out of 100. Seriously. And even when AJ with a 1 out of 100 performance still put Ruiz down. And that's what I'm backing. I know I criticised AJ and his team. I think they could be better, but still. It's only going to take an It's only going to take an average AJ. And Ruiz is cooked meat. Well cooked. Now I'd rather see AJ at his prime. In an absolute peak. In peak conditioning. I don't believe AJ's team have it in them to create an AJ who's above average. The absolute best, they can create an average AJ. They will never get the most out of him. Psychologically, physically, anything. They won't. They've proven it time and time again. Coming in overweight, coming in with no cardio. Skills in 10 years haven't improved. Still holding his right hand too low after right hands, still Dylan White and Andy Ruiz are able to set up shots, are able to come into a fight and pick shots and time shots, because he hasn't improved in 10 years. These are the facts of the situation. AJ's still getting caught by pressure fighters, which happened versus Mihai Nistor in 2011. Still happening. No improvement there. Yeah? His team ain't no good. That said, if we can get an AJ in there, look, if we can get AJ versus Dylan White, as I've always banged on about, if we can get that AJ there, with that kind of psychology, and that mentality is so important. When you go in there and you don't believe you can be hurt, and then, one thing we do know is, AJ versus Ruiz, the first fight, he went in there I don't know, honestly, there's something mad going. That fight, the way he went into that fight, the way he fought that fight, backing up, and then he was so defensive, and then he knocked Ruiz down, and he jumped all over him. It was a truly anxious performance, completely irrational. To fight so defensively, then just to jump all over him, it made no sense. He was being cautious the whole fight. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, AJ must take this rematch. People have been saying, oh yeah, he shouldn't take it, he should go and have warm-up fights. Listen, Anthony Joshua isn't Anthony Fury. We don't do no warm-up fights around here. We don't need to have 30 damn warm-up fights to get in there. You know what I mean? We don't have to fight 5 bums before we have a good fight. We go back to back to back to back, good fight, good fight, good fight. That's iron sharpens iron. That's what training camp's for. Training camp is for learning skills and whatnot. We don't need to go in there and knock over a bum, because we already know, factually speaking, going in there and knocking bums over, that doesn't actually do anything for your skills, by the way. It really doesn't. All it does is blow up people who have weak egos, people who have weak confidence. Fury has weak confidence. He don't believe in himself. That's why he left the Wilder rematch and had to fight bums to build himself up again. If he was truly confident and believed in himself, he would have gone away and said, you know what? I'm going to have a 6-month camp and I'm going to come in and knock the guy out. He didn't do that. He needed to knock over stiffs to get his confidence back. That's the fact of the matter. AJ don't need to do that. AJ's told you, we're going straight back in. Iron sharpens iron. Back to back to back to back to back. This ain't no Wilder ting. This ain't no Fury ting. It's back to back to back to back. Smoky, 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 smoky. We want it all. We want it everywhere. We want the smoke everywhere. And that's as simple as that. And even if AJ loses, he will have lost knowing he weren't looking for no warm-up fights. What's that going to prove? Who's that for? Because it won't make no difference anyway. If you haven't got it in you, you haven't got it in you. No amount of warm-up fights is going to change that 10 years into your career, in my opinion. Yeah? If McCracken can't change the things that need to be changed in the next 6 months, having 2 warm-up fights and delaying it a year ain't going to make a difference. The things that AJ needs to fix, I could fix them in a week or 2. It's very basic things. All they need to be is drilled. Very basic fundamentals. If we can get an AJ who has tightened up all of his little tiny holes, if we can get an AJ who holds his tight guard, elbows in, chin down, hands firmly, do you know what I'm saying? So if he just tightens himself up, Ruiz won't be getting through. And that's that. A great example. Look at fighters like, and this was at cruiserweight. Yes, they weren't heavyweight, but the facts remain the same. Listen, look at Murat Gassiev versus Usyk. We know Usyk can punch. He knocked Tony Bellew out. We know he can. My point, the reason I talk about Gassiev is this. Look at how Gassiev got through that fight. Look at Mikey Garcia. Look how they both got through that fight. Yeah, tight defense, well-schooled, well-drilled defense. You never saw Mikey Garcia's right hand being caught on his chest. If it was there, he'd have got knocked out by Errol Spence. You didn't see Murat Gassiev when he fought Usyk with his hands out of place. Tony Bellew took the PISS out of Murat Gassiev, talked about putting earmuffs on. But you need that kind of defense. That's why Tony Bellew got tired and his form fell to pieces and got knocked out. Because he hasn't been well schooled. He couldn't rely on his fundamental defense. Yeah? He didn't have that fundamental level of defense. The minute he got tired, his form fell to pieces, his hands were a bit lower, and he got caught. That's the difference there. That's the kind of defense AJ needs. You need that proper, well-schooled earmuff defense that Mikey Garcia and Gassiev showed. Because that gets you through them tough times. When Ruiz's combination punching, like Usyk was, and like Errol Spence was, you need that defense where you can sit there, chin on your chest, catch, parry, step off when you're tired or when you're under pressure. You need to have that confidence. AJ's team have not instilled that confidence or that defense ability in him yet. That needs to be done. But anyway, I keep going on tirades, but the fact of the matter is, George, I do believe you should be in AJ's camp. However, that's irrelevant at this point. That will or won't happen. As it pertains to this rematch, it's got to happen. There's no staying away from Ruiz. Ruiz ain't no killer. We're the hammer here, yeah? That's what AJ needs to believe. AJ needs to know he's the damn hammer. And I'll be really disappointed if we go into this rematch. And I hear a lot of people saying about not only do they say, oh yeah, AJ needs more time. They also say oh yeah, AJ needs to box this fight. AJ needs to be on the back foot and learn how to jab. What are you talking about? When has AJ ever done that? Seriously, people really don't know boxing at all. They say, yeah, oh, he needs to bring in the Klitschko, jab, jab, grab. What you want about? When has AJ ever been that type of fighter? No, AJ needs to be AJ and do what he's done his whole damn career. That's what he's made for. He's not made for jab, jab, grab. Have you not seen what he tried that in the Ruiz fight and got bullied? If AJ goes into this rematch and he's backing up like a warm, wet vagina, Ruiz is going to be rock hard and it's just going to go running into it. And rightly so, I would as well. AJ needs to hold his feet, see what's coming, and see what's popping, counter-punching. Go into that fight looking to set things up, using that higher level of IQ. Or, people, and that's the other thing, they keep talking about, oh yeah, look at the Parker performance, Joshua's boxing. AJ was moving forward that whole fight. That wasn't a boxing. That wasn't a backing up jab performance. Watch how he does it. Yes, he's jabbing. Yes, he's 1-2ing, but he's moving forward. Yeah. There's no Klitschko was always fanning around and tickling around and whatnot. There's no Fury or Vladimir Klitschko on this one. Hold your feet and move forward. Be the bully. When you're backing up, he's not made. The reason AJ looks so uncomfortable backing up is because he's never fought like that before, and rightly so. He's not made to be going backwards. I just don't get this fascination with trying to be an outboxer all of a sudden. I really don't get it. Hold your feet, and someone mentioned this, and I think it's a good point. I noticed that Tony Sims isn't around anymore. Now Tony Sims, people criticise him for not being the best fighter, but for not being the best trainer. But for AJ, what I do know is, AJ looked better under Tony Sims than he has done McCracken. That's the facts of the situation. I'm sorry. Bring Tony... If we don't get nothing else, if we don't get no George Foreman or Roy Jones in, at least bring Tony Sims back. Jesus. That's the least you can do. He looked more competent under Tony Sims. He looked more confident. He looked more... Well, he looked happy. He looked like he was out enjoying it. It feels to me like McCracken just turns up 8 weeks before and it's all a bit... He hasn't got that. AJ hasn't had that nurturing of that he should be having. I see videos of AJ training now, and he's got his cousin in there leading the session. I'm like, what the fuck? What's this about? Do you know what I'm saying? Where's the trainer at? These are the times you've just come off a devastating loss. This is the time you need someone, an ex-world champion or a very high all-time great, or an all-time great trainer to be building up your psychology. Yeah, it's no, you can't. Someone can't come in for the last 8 weeks and start. You can't build psychology in 8 weeks on the back end of a camp. You don't do it that way. You have to be doing it now, planting the seeds. It's things you need to be worked on. 8-week camp ain't gonna cut it. Yeah, really not. But anyway, I don't agree with George. The rematch must happen because the belts are going to go away and you'll never get them back as well. And let's not get it twisted. My main reason the rematch has to happen is because Ruiz isn't that good. Yeah, if AJ didn't take the rematch, that'd make Ruiz. I wouldn't mind if Ruiz was Mike Tyson. Even then I wouldn't get it. But still, AJ's the champ. Do you get that? AJ's the unified champ. Do you understand that? We ain't running from no one. Yeah, people run from us. That's what does happen. Yeah, we ain't running from no one. Much less a little fat dude called Ruiz. Do you get that? That's the bottom line. There's no running from that dude. There's no running from no one. Yeah. We wanted Wilder. Wilder didn't want no problems. Fury didn't want no problems. Dylan White didn't want no problems. And trust me, after November, Ruiz won't want no problems either.